Hello, my name is George Clemens, and this video is regarding my final project in ADTA 5250. This video was recorded using Adobe Captivate, which has a 30-day full-featured trial. The first submission requirement is the creation of a graph that shows the relationship between the student and 15 people. This image shows the relationship between George Clemens, me, and 15 of my family members. It was created using a program called Social Network Visualizer. I first attempted to create this using Tableau, but it was a bit too difficult, so I found this program, and it seems to work fairly well. The node shapes indicate family relationships. Square shapes indicate a parent. Red diamond shapes indicate a full brother. Blue diamond shapes indicate a half-brother. Heart shapes indicate step-siblings. Ellipse shapes indicate spouses. Triangle shapes indicate sons. And star shapes indicate stepsons. The strength of the relationships is indicated by the distance from the center, or me. This is approximate as allowance was made for clarity. I have an additional 3 half-siblings and 3 step-siblings that are not shown on this graph. I didn't live with any of these siblings for any appreciable amount of time, so I consider those sibling relationships to be weaker. Of the 15 relationships shown on the graph, 5 or 1/3 of them are deceased. I was unaware of how high this fraction is, and I don't know whether this is typical for someone of my family size and age. An attempt was made to group the relationships by how close they are related to each other. Aaron, Ronnie, David, and Travis are all my mother's children. David and Travis are my father's children. Valerie, Philip, and David Victor, or David V, I should say, are my father's stepchildren. My oldest son, Kirk, is my first wife, Sherry's son. Dylan, Corey, and Thomas are my second wife, Shauna's sons. Submission requirement number 2 is regarding the FBI crime database, or data set, I should say. It's a rather large data set, over 1.3 gigabytes. It didn't take me that long to download it, though. A EDA, or exploratory data analysis, was required, and this screen in Tableau shows some of the histograms that I created in an effort to analyze the data. And just a real quick look here at these histograms shows that the beat and community area indicate peaks in crime in certain areas. The district attribute is left skewed, indicating a higher concentration in some areas, higher concentration of crime in some areas. And the ward attribute is somewhat normally distributed, but may be slightly bimodal. The LCR attribute, which I believe is an acronym for Local Unified Crime Report, is skewed to the left. The X coordinate is skewed to the right, and the Y coordinate is bimodal. A further requirement of submission requirement number 2 is to identify the FBI codes. This sheet in Tableau shows the FBI codes, but we really don't know what they are. We just know at this point what the quantity of those codes are. Another requirement of submission requirement number 2 is the total number of criminal cases for each primary type of crime located in the data set. This sheet shows the various categories or primary types with a number of cases. The top 5 types are theft, battery, criminal damage, and narcotics. Deceptive practices is surprisingly high, and domestic violence is unusually low. Perhaps domestic violence is low because it is more often prosecuted on the state level and not on a federal level. Another surprise is the ritualism type. Was not aware that that was a federal crime. This chart shows the FBI code and the associated primary type of crime and the quantity of cases. The date range for the data in this data set is from the year 2001 to 2015. The trend in this chart, trend and date range chart, shows a slight decrease in the number of cases from the year 2001 to 2008. A decrease in the amount of cases increases from 2008 to 2014. A sharp decrease in cases is indicated in the year from 2014 to 2015. The image also shows the confidence band getting slightly smaller in 2008 and somewhat larger through the years 2014 and 2015. Submission requirement 3.1, one of those requirements is to show a scatter plot that shows profit and sales by category and by region. So this image right here, the above image, does that. The image indicates a negative profit for furniture in one region, and profit for all furniture is relatively low in all regions. The sales and profit for office supplies are moderate, and the sales and profit for technology are relatively high. A scatter plot chart is used because it presents information on sales, profits, and categories at a glance. Bottom area here shows profit and sales by category with separate plots for each region. The plots indicate low or negative profit for the central and east regions, and profits for the technology and office supplies categories are high in the east and the west regions. Sales are high for every region except for the south region. Sales are low in all three technology categories in the south region. The west region has high sales in all three categories. Submission requirement number 5 requires the writing of Python code in a Jupyter notebook to visualize data. So a histogram, a density plot, and a box plot is required. This data set is originally from the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. The objective of the data set is to diagnostically predict whether or not a patient has diabetes based on precise diagnostic measurements included in the data set. So we go ahead and open the Jupyter notebook, and we'll walk through the code here a little bit. The top section here imports the pandas and numpy libraries and the matplotlib libraries. Also imports the scatter matrix libraries. And as we scroll over some of these points on the scatter plot, you can see some of the details that are associated with those points. Second section loads the data set into a pandas data frame. and creates a data frame. You can see where the file location is specified, and the fields are named. And then finally, df equals pd.read underscore csv file name, comma, names equals names. Names equals names assigns the attribute names. And then df.head shows the top 5 records. A little more about the PIMA diabetes data set. Several constraints were placed on the selection of these instances from a larger database. In particular, all patients here are females at least 21 years old. The dataset consists of 8 medical predictor variables and 1 target variable class. Predictor variables include the number of pregnancies the patient has had, their BMI, insulin level, age, and so on. The variables in the database are preg, the number of times the subject has been pregnant, plasma glucose concentration in a 2 hours in an oral glucose tolerance test, pres, diastolic blood pressure, skin, triceps skin fold thickness in millimeters, test, a 2-hour serum insulin test, mass, body mass index measured as weight in kilograms, diabetes pedigree function, age in years, and class 0 or 1, no or yes, negative or positive. df.hist function sets the size, and plt.show creates histograms of all of the attributes. Only the variables mass, plas, and pres appear to be normally distributed. Pres appears to have 1 or more outliers. Age, pedi, preg, and test are all left skewed with means less than the median. The class variable only has 2 values, 0 and 1. The skin variable appears to be bimodal. So dfplot function, the type of plot is specified as a density plot. So plt.show prints a density plot for all of the attributes. Again, the mass variables mass, plas, and pres appear to be normally distributed. Pres appears to have 1 or more outliers. Age, pedi, preg, and test are all left skewed. The class variable only has 2 values, 0 and 1. This makes it appear to be bimodal. The skin variable appears to be bimodal. df.plot kind equals box means that a box plot is specified, and plt.show prints out the box plots for all of the attributes. They show, these box plots show the skewiness of the preg, skin, test, pedi, and age variables. The plas and pres variables have similar medians. The pres, test, mass, pedi, and age variables have significant outliers, with the test and pedi having most of them on the right of their skew. The test and the pedi variables have smaller second quartiles. And then we have the scatter plot matrix, scatter underscore matrix. df is the data, and then plt show prints the scatter plot matrix. So none of the variables indicate strong correlation. The pres and test, skin and mass, and test and plasma variables indicate a slight positive correlation. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.